Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. We had a bit of a Theatres of War AMA, Ask Me Anything from Cloud Imperium, answering various questions about this new game mode for Star Citizen on their Spectrum forums. Firstly, a bit of a primer statement. In the past few weeks, Theatres of War has run the gauntlet of internal testing with the CIG team and the closed tests with the always helpful Eva Carty. We've gotten valuable feedback and loads of data from these tests, and we've been able to translate that data into actionable changes that will improve the overall game experience. The main priority for the team has been to improve game performance, while further updates included adjustments to the out-of-bounds area size, making it larger, ship matchups, site alignment, and fixes for VoIP issues, so the voice over IP stuff, UI issues, and more. They're going to be running another round of Eva Carty testing and plan to implement more changes, and then we'll look to play test with a larger audience in the near future. What was the outcome of the Theatres of War Eva Carty testing 2 weeks ago? The weekend event was actually successful in achieving the objectives we set out to achieve with it. I could do a whole hour just on this, but to summarise the objectives, accomplishments and outcome, most importantly because of our new metrics and analytics, we discovered that someone somewhere made a kill with a fire extinguisher. That's amazing. It was not me. Server performance was great. We ran into challenges every time we scaled concurrency to some degree, and this instance was not different. We reached the highest concurrency we've had, almost 5 times what we have tested with previously. We found issues in platform that remain and are being looked at that affect everything. We ran into some persistent service issues, and finally the popular and more difficult topic, we've found our game is running much more poorly than we expected on our players' hardware, at least when you have action happening and 40 players in relatively tight proximity consistently. Tons of new features were proven out at a scale which included chat party friends joining into Arena Commander and Star Marine servers, as well as VoIP. Pulled a good amount of very specific analytics. The Eva Carty played straight for 6 to 8 hours with round cycling, meaning no downtime, just round after round after round, and those metrics are validating, and in some cases not validating, much of the gameplay map-wise, so they can sort of work out a lot of what's going on and how to fix stuff. Map mode balance validated, for example, 117 rounds played, a 54% win rate for defenders, so it's fairly equal, slightly sort of like tilted towards defense, but they expect that to sort of level out as people learn the map potentially. Ship balance got highlighted between the Buccaneers and Arrows. They noticed that there was a 2x spawn rate of Buccaneers over Arrows, which is likely because they die twice as much, and community highlighted this, which is great, and we've adjusted for it. We managed to confirm a few facts for the resources requirements of Theatres of War instances. Performance is and continues to be the biggest issue, and addressing that will help everything, whether that's desync or the sort of feel of responsiveness of the game. No game feels good below 20 FPS, except maybe Civilization or Risk. There have been over 150 changes since the last Eva Carty test 2 weeks ago. A party system has already been implemented, so you and your friends can play in the same instance after you join a big group. They've now done a sprint fully focused on performance, and that should have hopefully helped a lot with that. Again, Theatres of War lets them see issues obviously and analytically, so it's been incredibly useful for them. How will you fix desync problems? Sometimes a lack of responsiveness for certain systems or actions can be conflated into desync issues. This is then further exacerbated by low frame rates, so sometimes what we might seem to think of desync isn't, and instead is a different issue, be it a responsiveness or lag issue. Quite a few actual desyncs were addressed for Theatres of War and are much easier to track and fix comparatively to the persistent universe. For example, the 250 millisecond injected delay was completely reworked, approximately 50 now, as most other games are, and they've adjusted to serve Theatres of War as the servers run at a solid 30 ticks. Short answer, desyncs are addressed as they are discovered, but oftentimes responsiveness and low frame rate are bigger culprits. Will Theatres of War get bots in the future, or AI or NPCs? So Theatres of War is not an exclusively PvP only mode, and they will potentially make use of AI where it makes sense in scenarios. They don't have a dedicated AI specialist at the moment to be able to build in like bots or anything, because they're being used for Theatres of War and Squadron 42. FPS movement and weapon handling is clunky in Star Citizen. Has this been addressed in Tau? So Theatres of War has been great for identifying issues with on-foot combat, due to the concentration of combat and the variety of environments it takes place in. As a result, we're making some great steps towards making the movement feel much more responsive, and to improve weapon handling. Some of these changes have already gone live over the last couple of updates, all will be coming in the near future, but here are a couple of examples off the top of my head. Movement and strafe speed increases, total stamina and regeneration increased, increasing overall sprint time and reducing weapon sway, animation speed increases, weapon reloads and ship and vehicle enter and exit improvements, weapon spread and recoil improvements. Will we see a game mode for Theatres of War that has an emphasis on space combat rather than ground combat, like a Capture the Idris mode? Yes, the intention of this particular scenario, the Crossroads of Crime scenario that they've been working on, was to ensure ground vehicles and infantry could coexist and would match up against ships, basically, but not so many of them. For our next scenario, you can expect it to be turned on its head, where the focus will be on space and ship combat as a central component, but using the same template of phases and objective gameplay. So that's a 3-phase sort of like thing where you're pushing next objective to next objective. You have a group of attackers and a group of defenders. It looks like they are starting on that second scenario next quarter. And they went on further to say a capital ship fight scenario is on our radar. Which specific ships would take part in will be dependent on our ship pipeline progression. Will Theatres of War have medical and engineer and support roles? Certainly something we'll want to incorporate eventually, but right now our priority is getting the combat feeling good in a combined arms scenario before moving on to more specialised roles. As medical gameplay and other systems come online in future quarters for the persistent universe, we'll be looking closely at how we can incorporate them into Theatres of War. How big is the Theatres of War team, and are they focused just on Theatres of War? We are cognizant of resources available and other high-profile priorities for the company. Main intent was to provide an environment where we could get an appropriate amount of information, which would then result in multiple improvements across the board. All the development, playtime, and feedback provided directly benefits the needs of Star Citizen and Squadron 42. The Theatres of War team that is dedicated to Theatres of War is very small, a total team size of 10, and it consists of 4 designers, 2 engineers, 3 artists, and a producer. They basically go on to say that they're committed to working and developing Theatres of War to make it a long-lasting experience. Work on Theatres of War and what they're doing here helps the whole of Star Citizen. Will we see Theatres of War incorporate multi-crew ships eventually? Yes, we're already using them. We are currently utilising a Valkyrie and a Vanguard, though this may change due to ongoing balance changes. Has Theatres of War helped balance the game as a whole? It has been incredibly helpful. Previously, the main opportunity for mixed arms gameplay has been in persistent universe encounters, which could be quite uncommon due to the size. Having a game mode where you're immediately in a focused combat scenario where FPS, ground vehicles and ships are all interacting has given us an opportunity to see how everything interacts. It's also influenced sweeping FPS weapon changes and fixes, as it's allowed us to tune our weapons for longer and more realistic combat ranges due to the size of the map and the distance at which you will be encountering enemy players. Will Theatres of War have a downed and get teammates back up feature? This is something we're currently working on and looking at alongside the incoming body dragging mechanics and medical gameplay. Will there be something like C4? We have loads of really cool throwables, deployables and consumable items coming to the game in the future. I don't want to give too much away, but there'll certainly be lots of items you can utilise for combat. I'll lightning round a few things because I've got a load of notes here. They have been playing internal tests regularly with lots of players from the studios. They are considering higher player counts for future scenarios. They are planning to start work on the new Theatres of War scenario or map next quarter, as I said earlier. Any changes they make in Theatres of War will also be made in the persistent universe and vice versa. All the weapons, armour, items and ships are all part of the same game. Theatres of War has apparently increased the priority of getting the tank in the game, the Nova tank, because of gameplay needs, and it's going to hit the persistent universe at the same time once it's ready. The next test will be in the 3.9.1 branch, and then they're going to move over to 3.10.0, so we should see an Evocati test at some point in the next few weeks. Expect FPS scope inaccuracies to be fixed in 3.10.0. Theatres of War is the name that they're currently using internally for the game mode, but they are considering several other names for when they're done with it. And that's sort of it. I'd love to know what you think of Theatres of War at this stage. Are you excited to play it? Do you think it's pointless? Do you think it's great? I've played it a few times now in Evocati and CitizenCon playtests, and it's very good and fun, but needs work and polish for sure. Is it something that you will be playing? Did you play it at CitizenCon? Do you have a suggestion for a name for the Theatres of War game mode? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a ship giveaway. For June, it's for an Aspira Tavaran Prowler dropship and Star Citizen game package, kindly supplied by Cloud Imperium. Just comment on any of my videos made during June to be in for a chance of winning that. Oh, what's that? What am I shilling for? This month, you ask? Well, the same thing I shill for every month. If you need a VPN, then check out NordVPN. It's a cheap, fast, and has a load of benefits over free VPN services. Consider it for security, privacy, protection, content accessibility, and even to help with bandwidth limits. You also get a shipload of money off via the links below. I am BoredGamer. I was going to go with BoredVPN, but that didn't sound right. BoredGamer sounds perfect for my shillingness. Also, if you're looking for a gaming PC or a gaming PC upgrade, instead consider Shadow. It's a subscription-based service that starts around $11 or £12 or some euros, and that streams a Windows 10 system to your device, be it another PC, laptop, phone, or TV, using the powers of the internet, and there's a wide range of hardware to meet your needs. It means you don't have to maintain your own rig, so if you dream of 4K gaming and you don't want to break the bank, it's an option. All their services are very suitable for Star Citizen, but there may be a waiting list based on what country and state you are in.